What's up, my people, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're back on Apex Legends, and we're doing another guide video. This time, it is about the newest legend to come into the game, Ashe. Now, I know it's been a few weeks since the season started, but I still wanted to make a little bit of a guide to kind of give my thoughts on Ashe, a little bit of an overview, and give some tips for pretty much each of her abilities. So without further ado, let's get started. And first, I'm going to give my thoughts. So in my opinion, Ashe is honestly a really fun legend. Like, I think she's become one of my top picks, honestly, when it comes to playing the game. Like, I don't really have a main anymore, and Ashe feels like sort of a main spot, kinda, I guess. And she's just very overall fun to play. I think she's the type of legend that I really like using, like having like an offensive tactical like that, like kind of like Fuse, and then having an ultimate that supports the team and is also like really good for rotational purposes. Like, she's kind of a good blend with support and offensive, and I really like that. And she's probably one of the top legends, and she's actually fairly balanced in my opinion. I don't know why they're going to be nerfing her passive, but yeah, apparently she's going to be getting a passive nerf down the road, so be aware of that. But I really don't think she needs any nerfs. If anything, I think she needs a small buff to her tactical, because look how slow this thing travels. Yeah, you kind of get the point of that. It travels at a very slow pace, and it goes on forever and ever, but it does eventually fall off, or whatever. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. She's a really fun, pretty much balanced legend, and yeah. So now, I'm gonna go over, like, her abilities and give a few tips on them, if anything. So let's first start off with her, whoops, wrong button. Let's start with her passive, which is called Marked for Death. Ashe's map shows the location of recent death boxes. Press H, or whatever key you have on, like, control or whatever, on death box to mark surviving attackers once per box. So yeah, her passive is pretty insane. Like, it's gonna be really good in, like, high-level play. Well, it is good in high-level play. And it's just really good in general. Like, you're not gonna be able to hide too much with Ashe, pretty much. And yeah, getting those scans with the death boxes is going to be really important. So I'd probably suggest whenever you see, like, a death box, a random death box, or in an area where there's a bunch of death boxes, be sure to mark each one to see if there's any living attackers, because that is some really crucial and useful information that you should be using and taking into good consideration, especially if that enemy is somewhere near you. And also be sure to get rid of any campers. So yeah, really useful. Be sure to get in that information whenever you can. And also, Ashe's passive is like a super easy thing to forget. So, like, you're going to want to remember to use it. Always remember to check your map constantly for the death boxes, ping them, so you can tell your teammates, oh, this is where a fight's happening, or whatever. Like, that's not only very useful information to you, but to the team, obviously. And yeah, it's always, if you're aggressive, then yeah, you're going to want to go and find those enemies and kill them. And even if you're not an aggressive player, I suggest you still go out and find those enemies, because it's worth it. High risk, high reward, am I right? But anyways, yeah, that's all I got for a passive. Just remember to use it. Check your map constantly for when the death boxes spawn. I've forgotten about that so much, and yeah, I don't know if it could have saved me in any circumstances, but yeah, it's useful to be able to get in that information, and as much as you can. Now let's move on to her tactical ability, which is Arc Snare. Throw a spinning snare that damages and tethers the first enemy that gets too close. Now, okay, let me show you. I already showed it earlier, but yeah, that's a tactical right there. It hits a certain area. If there's an enemy that's like right in its radius or is very close to it, they're going to get stuck by it, and 20 damage is going to be done to them. And the tactical, I'd probably say is the weakest part about her kit. I did mention that I do think it needs a little bit of a buff to its travel time. And yeah, that'll really bring up her potential by a whole lot, but her tactical is still a pretty decent ability. So when it comes to using her tactical, I suggest you use it as much as you can, just like her passive. But whenever you're getting up there with the enemies, you're going to want to be just throwing that tactical when you can, so you can kill them. And yeah, you don't want to be using the tactical at a distance at all. Like, you got to be up close and personal, especially with the state it's in right now, with, like I said, with its slow travel time. You just got to be up in the face of enemies. If there's any enemies that are, like, infiltrating your area and are getting too close, you can try to kill it down and get to cover if you can. That's another part. That's another thing that can really make it useful, is trying to get away as fast as you can and having that get down there. So enemies that are punished get stuck there, and then you can just come back and get them down. So it's pretty straightforward. Just try to be use the tactical as often as you can when you're up close with any enemies, and be very precise with it. Like, you do gotta be precise with serious tactical, but this tactical, you really gotta be precise with it. Try to get your tracking skills on point, because it will really come useful when using this tactical. Especially if you're just at kind of like a mid-range or a longer range distance, which I doubt you should be at that sort of distance when you're using this tactical. Again, that's like the acceptable range when it comes to using this ability. And always be sure to try and just mow down the enemy, like when they get stuck in the tactical as well. Because yeah, you're doing some good extra damage, which will get you a good extra kill. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about her tactical ability. It's decent. It's in an alright spot. Now let's move on to her ultimate, which is Phase Breach. Tear open a one-way portal to a targeted location. Let me show you how this thing works. So you press your ultimate key, and then you'll see like the little location thing. And it can go a pretty decent distance. I think that's the max though.
Tearing away.
And it's a one-way portal, so you can't go back through it, sadly. And it doesn't stay there for too long of a time. It's not like Wraith's portal in that sense. So it'll disappear anytime soon. And there it goes. So the ultimate ability is a really high-risk, high-reward ability, because it's one way. You're not going to be able to go back through it like with Wraith's ultimate, so you really got to be careful of how you're using it. And you got to try to like get the better position with it. It's really good for just like quick escapes, quick rotations, and pushing the enemy. The playstyle Ashe is meant to be played with, or whatever, is like pretty aggressive, because like with the state of her tactical, like that has to be used aggressively. You're marking the map for where enemies are, which kind of encourages you to go fight them. And then there's her ultimate, which if you're pushing with it, you're basically fully committing to getting into that fight and doing what you can to take the enemies out. Basically, how I would suggest using the ultimate is, if there are any enemies, like in the area, hold on, let me get this, whoops. Let me get this ultimate accelerant. I mean, that ultimate, the ultimate charges up pretty quickly, so you're going to be using it a lot, pretty much. So yeah, let's just say there's an enemy, like, right here.
Meet me here.
You're going to want to like find a good positioning that's like maybe most likely above the enemy, since high ground is like really important. And then you can just go ahead and teleport behind them. And if you have a good vantage, you can just go ahead, poke at them, and kill them. So yeah, that's one really good situation when it comes to using Ashe's ultimate. And then of course, like I said before, a quick escape. And you're going to want to make sure, if you're a teammate who's not Ashe and you're following Ashe, then be sure to take that ultimate as quickly as you can, because like I said, it's going to disappear rather quickly. So yeah, be sure to use it quickly, follow it quickly, and I suggest not trying to exactly like go for the full push or fully committing to a push. Like, you can use like the ultimate like right after you like get like an enemy really low, or if you like down one enemy, you can go ahead and push using the ultimate to get to that spot. If the enemies are like in a weak point, like that's one of the ways that you should use it. And that's a way I could recommend using it, especially for like aggressive pushes. And then, like I said before, like just evaluate the situation, know what's going on, the information about the enemies and such, then use the ultimate in whatever respective way you can, like getting a good position to kill the enemy, or pushing when the enemies are in a bad spot. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say about our ultimate. I think it's in a good spot, honestly. Like, it's not like Wraith's ultimate, obviously. Like, this ultimate is more like used for like direct pushes, direct repositioning, quick repositioning, That's how Ash's ultimate is supposed to be used, where Wraith's is more of like a defensive, supportive, like, ultimate. I mean, Ash's is a supportive ultimate too, but there's a lot more versatility with Wraith's ultimate. Both of them play completely different, which is why I tend not to try and compare the two. But yeah. Nonetheless, Ash is still a really good legend, and her abilities are really fun. And yeah, really strong. So kind of recap the tips I've given for a passive, just make sure you don't forget to use it. Like, use it as much as you can, mark as much death boxes as you can. Like, even if there doesn't seem to be any attackers, just like, listen to that suspicion and mark the death boxes. And pay attention to the map. I think I already said that. Then tactical, just use it up close, aggressively, and melt down the enemies if they get trapped into the snare. Oh, it is super loud. Pretty much all I gotta say for the tactical. Then the ultimate, use it for quick repositioning, or if you're in like a sticky situation, quickly reposition where you can and as far away from the enemies as possible. Use the ultimate to get a good vantage point on any enemies, and then you can do whatever you can to bring them down. And then be sure to use it like if you get the enemies super low, or if one of them's down, a couple of them down, then push, then take them out. Don't just like directly push without knowing the whole entire situation. Evaluate the situation first, and then push. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I think this was more of a direct guide than a lot of other guides I've did, honestly. Because Ash is pretty much just meant to be played in one specific way as of now, and that's just be aggressive. And yeah, again, I don't have much to say, so I think that's going to be all for the guide. Let me know what you think about Ash in the comments section. I personally think she's really fun, and one of the more balanced characters that's released off launch, in my opinion. So yeah, that's going to be all for this video. So if you did enjoy and find anything informational, then be sure to give it a like, and if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you can get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Also, be sure to join the Discord server. The link will be in the description.
Not so fast.
And yeah, also I have a gilded server too, so if you have gilded and are looking for any servers to join on there, then I'll leave a link to that in the description for you as well. And be sure to follow my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TheRealNEX, and follow me on Instagram at TheRealNEX.gg. And yeah, once again, that's going to be all for this video. Let me know what you think about Ash in the comments section.
Phase tear ready.
And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.